Hey guys, welcome to my kitchen. My name is Chef Dimple and today we're going to learn how to make Hyderabadi lamb biryani. Now in the world of biryanis, there are two types of biryanis. We have something that is called as a Kachi Biryani and something that is called as a Pakki Biryani. The Pakki Biryani is extremely easy to cook. It's just basically cooking the meat with all the masalas and then just layering it off with different layers of rice. However, that's something that we've been doing in our households all this while. But today we're going to learn how to make a little difficult biryani. But at the same time, this difficult biryani tastes lovely. It's out of the world. And this is the recipe that we follow at our restaurants. And our restaurants also have chains in Hyderabad. And one of the famous ones, I can't name them, but a very famous biryani restaurant also follows this recipe in Hyderabad. So I'm glad to share this recipe with you. Let's get started. In an open dish, take about 3 tablespoonfuls of oil and ensure it's nice and hot. Now we're going to add 2 large onions thinly sliced. But the beauty is that you need to, when you slice the onion, you need to kind of break them like this and add them to the oil. My oil is really hot, so I'm just going to be a little more quick. Ensure your oil is really hot, and while putting in the onions, bring the flame on to medium. Now, if you guys are really wanting to get the Hyderabadi biryani taste, please follow exactly the way I'm telling you. Just kind of give this a nice toss so that the onions cook well on all sides. Now, we're actually going to wait until these nicely turn brown and caramelize. So this will take about 10-15 minutes on medium flame, but let it take its time because we don't want them to burn, we just want them to caramelize. While this is cooking, you can take your lamb or beef, and I have taken about a quarter kilo of lamb. You can actually take half kilo as well, or you can take 1 kilo. For this recipe, I've taken about quarter kilo because I have some amount of boneless lamb, and I also have steaks with bones. Now I have added about 2 tablespoons of ginger garlic paste to this, and I have added a little of meat tenderizer powder. Now if you do not want to apply the meat tenderizer powder, you could apply raw papaya, but this is a powder that is available in the market and it's extremely useful. You can keep one packet at home. Add just about 1 tablespoon of meat tenderizer powder. What this powder does is it ensures that the cells inside your lamb break and kind of create a more tender piece of lamb for you to eat. Now that's what you need in this biryani. So let this marinate for about 1 hour. Now at the same time, I've taken about 3 cups of basmati rice and I've soaked it in cold water. And this will also remain for about 1 hour. Okay, so while my onions are becoming nice and brown, we're going to start marinating our lamb. So here we have the lamb which has the ginger garlic paste and the meat tenderizer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 4 green chilies finely chopped. I'm going to add some coriander leaves. If you have a bunch, add about half. And sprinkle some mint leaves, that's pudina. I have your whole garam masala. So I'm going to add 2 bay leaves. I'm going to add some 1 stick of cinnamon. I'm going to add 4 pods of cardamom. I'm going to add 4 cloves and 4 peppercorns and 2-3 pieces of maize. Add 1 teaspoon of lemon powder, 2 teaspoons of cumin powder, about 1 teaspoon of red chili powder, add about half a teaspoon of salt. Now I'm going to add about 6 tablespoons of yogurt. Add 1 tablespoon of coarse pepper powder. Remember, this has to be coarse, do not add fine. Just sprinkle it around. Add 2 tablespoons of oil. Mix this well. Now in this recipe, it is better if you have fresh mint leaves because that really gives a beautiful flavor. Mix this well and leave this aside for about 15 to 20 minutes so that the spices can nicely get into the meat. Now the reason we've added oil is because I'm going to place this mixture at the end of our hollow bottom pan. So which is why it should stick to the pan and it should also cook. So with the heat, it's going to cook. I'm going to place this aside. Now my onions have nicely browned. So I'm going to take half the quantity of the onions and just put it into the mixture. Toss it well. Remember, you have to add the onions as soon as you fried them. They have to be nice and hot. Okay, now we're going to let this mixture be aside for about 15 to 20 minutes. Now the next step is, in an open pan, take some cold water and let this come to a nice boil. Add about 2 tablespoons of oil to this water. Add 1 teaspoonful of salt. Ensure you add good amount of salt to this water. Because you're going to drain off the rice once you add this. After a while, I'm going to tell you how to drain off the rice from this water. So you're not going to use the salty water again. But for the little time that the rice is there in this water, it has to get a little salt to it, which is why you have to add salt to this particular water. If you do not add salt to this water, honestly, it will not taste like a Hyderabadi biryani. In a biryani, it's very difficult to correct the salt at the end. So ensure this is the most important part, and the rice also has to be accurately cooked. So please ensure that you add salt, oil to this water and wait till it exactly comes to a boil. Now while this is coming to a boil, I want to show you the color of my marination. Do you see? This has got such a beautiful, nice orange color, just like you see in restaurants. And there's really no trick. Just do it exactly the way I'm telling you and you're going to get the taste as in a restaurant. Parallelly, here I have my rice which has been soaking for about 40 minutes now. So I'm going to start adding this rice to my boiling water with the oil and salt. Now this has begun coming to a slight boil. At this stage, I'm going to start adding my rice to this water. Always remember, in a biryani, use 1 spoon. Always use 1 spoon. If this is the spoon you've used for the marination, use this spoon for everything else. Slowly add the rice to this water. Be very careful because the water is very hot. Now if you see there is rice stuck around this particular dish, now the way to get rid of it is to add just a little warm water to this dish and drop it into this water. So I'm going to add this. So all my rice is now in this oil water mixture. Give this a nice mix and now wait until this comes to a proper full-fledged boil. Now you see this has really begun boiling. At this stage, start removing some amount of rice in a different container. Now half the quantity of the rice that you've put, approximately get that much out. One of the ways of doing this is to use a big spoon. I'm just going to be fast and get this out and use the same spoon. Always use a wooden spoon for a biryani. You could also use a strainer spoon. So while I'm talking to you, I'm already to half the quantity of my rice. Now the rice that I'm actually removing is almost 50% done. Remember, you've already soaked this for 40 minutes and now I have half the quantity out. So as it started bubbling, I have half the quantity out and half the quantity is still bubbling into this rice. Now I have drained off all the extra water that had come and this is now nice and 50% done. Now this remaining rice which has been bubbling, I'm going to drain off this water and this is going to be almost 70% done. So I'm going to tell you what to do now. Okay, so here I have my 2 sets of rice as promised. This is the one which I got out earlier. So this one is about 50% cooked. Okay, and this one is what I drained off later. So this is about 60-70% cooked. I'm going to take a nice open dish, okay, and just add about 1 tablespoon of oil just to grease the area around. So once you've added, just do this so that the oil is all over, but do not add more than 1 tablespoon. And preferably take a nice open pan and a non-stick pan. That's what you exactly need. I'm going to let this become nice and hot. So here I have my marination, the lamb marination which we've done. I'm going to add this to my open pan. I've added my lamb mixture. Do not add any water. We will just cook in exactly the water released by the meat and the yogurt. Now I'm first going to add my 50% cooked rice. That's the rice I first drained out. Okay, add it to this. Spread this rice equally on all sides. Now I'm going to add half of my fried onion. Of the remaining half, we're going to add half. Add half of the chopped coriander. Sprinkle some mint leaves. I have some saffron water which I have made, which is just saffron and added to a little hot water and just kept it for a minute or two. And then you get the saffron water. We're not going to need so much. We're just going to sprinkle some. So I've poured the saffron water in the same marination bowl so that I don't lose out on the spices. So I'm just going to sprinkle this over the rice so that, you know, they just get a nice flavor. Okay. Now I'm going to add my remaining 70% rice which is cooked on top of this. Do not have gaps between any of these because it's important that you add this when it is hot, because remember you're not going to add any water, so you have to ensure that the temperature is kept constant. Just kind of level it up on all sides. I'm going to add my remaining onions, fried onions. Just finish them off. Add the remaining coriander and mint leaves. Add your saffron juice. Now the ingredient of the saffron juice is also important for this recipe because you know, honestly, if you want to get this right, you just have to add everything. So don't really miss out on things. And now I'm going to close this lid. This has to be a nice airtight lid. Keep it at the minimum. Now if you do not have an airtight lid, you could actually have some wheat flour, some dough, make it and then just kind of roll it around the entire rim. Now I have just one nozzle here for the air, so I've kind of blocked it with some nice white kitchen towel paper. So that's the way I'm going to let this cook on low flame. Now after about 1 to 2 minutes, when you see some steam around the lid, it's important to have a nice glass lid so you can see this, or if you have a stainless steel, just about 1 to 2 minutes, open this. We're going to sprinkle some nice garam masala powder. Okay, so I'm going to sprinkle, always sprinkle at the outer rim of the circle and then come to the inner. This sprinkled garam masala powder is about 2 tablespoons. Just sprinkle on the top. Place the lid again. But this time you need to place a tawa on at the bottom of your vessel. Now why we do this is, when we make this in the restaurant, we use a really hard, heavy bottom vessel to make the biryani. Now such a huge vessel like a big handi, you're not going to get that at home. So a similar effect can be done by just placing a tawa, like a frying pan, below, and then placing your biryani dish over it. Place it on the lowest flame possible and forget about it for the next 40 minutes. Honestly, after 40 minutes, you will yourself start getting this small little fragrance of the biryani and the spices. And that's the time you'll know that it has actually begun cooking. But do not disturb this mixture until then. So after about 60 minutes of cooking this on the lowest flame, I'm going to open the lid. Wow, look at this beautiful color. Now start giving this a nice mix so that all the layers of rice coat well. The meat is so tender. Now you can finish this off by sprinkling some coriander and mint leaves and serve this with some raita. Lovely. As you can see, I have absolutely nothing stuck to my dish to the bottom. Absolutely nothing. Yeah, see, it's not sticking at all. Now that is how an accurate biryani is really made. You shouldn't have anything sticking to the bottom of your dish. And we get this by adding the right consistency of oil, keeping a tawa below, and using the right cooking dish. So serve this with raita and enjoy. So thank you very much, and hope you guys enjoyed watching this video and you guys will try it out in your homes. And do write to me if in case you want me to really teach you or to cook with you a recipe of your choice. I'll be more than happy because I believe in inspiring a lot of people to cook. And now that I have that kind of expertise, I want to pass it on to everyone. So thank you, and see you again in my next video. Bye-bye.